Welcome back to Bannworth Academy Ancient News. You're here with part 2 of archaeologist Lee Baylis, and he has a lot of goodies for us. So let's just get right on into it. All right, let's see. Your 3D model of the Roman corn dryer was published in the British Archaeology magazine, which if you look at the end of episode, I think he's episode 7 of season 1. If you look at the end of it, the last 5 minutes does have it, but he has this magazine with us today.
Yeah.
So not only do I want you to show it to us, but what was the process like? Why was this feature significant to you? And like, talk to us about how, how can people get their significant finds into magazines that they, read and look into? Tell us all about it.
So I think it was the site we previously mentioned where it was one of my top, most memorable sites. And we had 2 corn dryers there. We had the one that was quite large. That was my the model I did of that one. And then the smaller one is the first one I excavated. And the bigger one was quite more impressive, and someone else cleaned it with me, and they were quite, they made it look pristine. So I thought, I'll do a 3D model, because I used to do 3D models of all the cool things on site anyway, just for my own portfolio. And I kind of thought, well, maybe that's a good first publication, or I could submit it to any archaeology magazine. But the first one I came across was the British Archaeology magazine, and I think it was fairly easy to find the contact for the editor. And so I just emailed her and sent the 3D model and said, this is some of the details about it. Would you be interested in publishing it? And she was like, yeah, we'll put it as I think it was called the first insight. So it's like one of the first things you see behind the front cover. So I was like, oh, that's cool with me. So all they wanted was like a little bit of information. So it's more about the image instead of like an article. But it was quite, when I opened it, because I got a free copy in the mail, it was quite a nice moment, quite impressive. But this is the magazine.
Very cool.
Itself, British Archaeology magazine, issue 198 if you want a copy.
Very cool.
And then, so you go.
And let's see the front cover or the inside.
Well, that's the inside, but then it's the actual next one, I guess, is the 3D model.
That is such a cool focus. You know how at like the modern art museums they have like a white wall and just one thing to focus on? I mean, that's a pretty cool first publication. And the way they really nice. Focus the whole page is just that. That's fair, because I saw the close-up of it. Even your name is just slightly on the other side. They really focused on your
it's just kind of the image itself, and then there was a little paragraph just saying how it was made type thing. But yeah, I mean, if you're into 3D models or photogrammetry, and you can get it out into a nice quality, it's quite easy now to contact magazines or online and just even chat GPT or something. You just say, who's the best person to ask to contact regarding this magazine, and they should give you an email address. I just went on their website and found their email and submitted it, and I just got lucky, I think, and they said yes. So sometimes they might not look at it, but that time they did, so I was quite happy.
But I mean, the end product is really good quality though, So if it were any less quality, I don't think they necessarily would have put it in there. It's because you did it skillfully, Well, it says, talking about that, because now it's like inspired me the next time I'm out in the field, because I usually dig for the Florida Museum of Natural History every dig season. So I should be digging this fall or maybe this winter. But if I find anything really wonderful, I almost want to try to 3D model it in situ. Just like I just want to see how it would turn out, because I don't think I even have. We're lucky because with the way it goes in the digs that I'm part of, we're digging almost like furiously, and then you're lucky if someone's like, "Hey, quick, click," and then you're like back to digging. So it would be really cool just to like have a 3D model of something that I found instead of being, which I wish I would have met you before I went on the dinosaur expedition, because out there it was a much slower dig out in Utah and with the dinosaur bones, and I really had like my whole section for over a week of just like really honing in with my air stylist, of getting through it, and I would have loved to have taken a 3D model. So now I've learned something from you, and I'm going to put it into practice in the future, see how it goes for me. So talking about that, it says, can you explain a bit more about how technology like 3D modeling is changing archaeological research and public engagement?
It's definitely something that's kind of only cropped up maybe the last couple of years, because usually before that it was always photogrammetry and doing it the old-fashioned way, which is not that old-fashioned, just taking loads of pictures and merging them together and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess now because of technology changing so fast, and you can just do a lot of things on your phone these days because it's easier and quicker. And I came across these apps and test them out on site when I can, and they kind of have the same result. And it's not really used professionally or like in a company. I don't think they would use it just yet. Although I know some companies use an iPad and do it that way, but using
Yes.
LiDAR instead of taking pictures. So they'll just scan it with a LiDAR kind of app or something, and it'll give them a 3D scan. Um, but yeah, with the way I do it, it's just I like it because you can still get a good quality image, and you can get it on the computer and have a look. You can send it to people, and it's usually quite compatible with everyone's computers. Everyone can kind of see it. But for public outreach, I've actually used it with talks. So I sometimes do public outreach for just the general public because the knowledge of kind of commercial archaeology isn't well known to the public. So people will see me on site with a high vis and think I'm just like a builder, or I'm building houses or something, or working construction. But now we're working as archaeologists, and so I did like a basic presentation, and at the end I kind of show off a little bit, I guess, and show off some of my 3D models. And um, it's nice visually because you can also render them as a video with a 360. So if I've
Yeah.
got like a skeleton model, and they can go see a 360 view, but you can also put that into a 3D printer as well and print it off
Oh,
as
wow.
a little model. So I think there's one I printed off. I should have got it with me, but it's from a museum in Ireland, and it's a Roman wine cup, and it's just like they've got the model on their database, and I downloaded it and printed it out, so you can have like a replica
Oh,
wine
that's
cup. So
awesome.
that's also helping probably in certain aspects of archaeology where we can scan things easier, don't have to
Yeah.
kind of touch it so much, or if it's so delicate, and then 3D print it to do a bit more research on it type thing.
That's a great idea for classrooms too. Like you
Yeah,
learn about something, because I have school, I learn about something, I talk to the students about it, then I can find the schematics to build it on the, or, print it on the 3D printer, and then they can literally hold it and, pass it around instead of just in theory. How many 3D models do you think you've taken and collected so far?
to be fair, that site with the corn drive with the one in the magazine, I took quite a lot there because a lot of interesting things popped up, like the skeleton I mentioned
Oh,
before, where it
that's a
was
good one.
upside down.
I put that in
um
the end of the last video
yeah,
too.
and then someone found like a Roman jug with two handles on both
Mm.
sides. So I did a 3D model of that. Someone did like a really long slot across like a ditch and a Roman possible like pathway. And it was just such a nice section that I had to do a 3D model of it. Because you can also take measurements on the app as well.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so I took one of the
Say the name of
skeleton.
the app again so everybody has it.
Well, it was Metascan, but now they must have been bought out because now it's called A-bound or something. But
Okay.
something just as good is called Polycam, I think.
Okay.
Um, but even if they typed in 3D photogrammetry on your app store, something should come up, and it's usually
Right.
free.
So you could, I mean, technically, okay, you have the ability to send in to different magazines a bunch of other ones that you've done as well. So we
You
may
can
be seeing
even
you in a lot of magazines,
maybe,
you
I
know?
mean, you can even do like 3D models of pots. It doesn't have to be a feature; it could be a find. So
Yeah,
I've got this Indus Valley pot, and say
that's
if you had it
very cool.
on a flat surface and you had like something that could rotate, you could take loads of pictures of the inside. You
Oh,
know,
I love
this
it.
with all the these got this has got a like deer pattern. You can just about see it there. So you can do it with pots. You know, with archaeological features. You know, so it's quite, you know, it's really handy to have. And if you're into that kind of thing, you know, you can go nuts and just do as many as you can. You know.
I'm actually very interested. It's kind of serendipitous that you brought the Indus Valley pottery because I'm currently teaching one of my not foreign exchange, but like distance learning students, um, an Asian art museum type of focus course. And the lessons I taught last week were all about Indus Valley pottery, and then how it changes from Indus Valley to like near the Ganges instead. And so I'm literally just going to send her this episode so she can see the pottery that you've brought. It's exactly what I needed for class. So that being said, you've also had exhibitions in museums and stuff. It's not just, you could probably also submit all your stuff to. I would love to see it. Like, I wonder if we could get you into like the Metropolitan or something like that. Because they put up the post and even they have it on my class did this thing where you go through the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and it was like an online scavenger hunt because they have like a 3D mapping of their museum, and then you click on it, and it has like really good footage. I mean, you could be in literally museums, definitely digital museums around the world. I'm actually moving towards. I changed the company name for mine from just Bannworth Academy to Bannworth Academy Universities, Museums, and Schools. And I might talk to you too about see if I can get some of your stuff to put online.
Yeah.
Well, that being said, what did it feel like to see your first exhibition displayed in a museum? So not only have you been in a magazine, but you've been in a museum as well.
Yeah, so I mean, I had a few little ones before that, but my first proper exhibition. So I run a society, an archaeological society, and I have like a quite a big collection of stuff from, like I say, modern to Roman to Iron Age to Bronze Age to fossils to just everything really I could kind of collect. And things that I've either bought them, I've either been donated, they've been donated to me because they don't know what they are and I don't really want them, but I'll take it because it's quite
Right?
interesting. Some things that I've just been allowed to take from sites that are just unstratified, so they've been found on the surface or in a spoil heap and it can't really be used for a context. So I'll take it because I'll take anything.
You have
um,
your own museum.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I probably could fill a museum of all. I've got boxes everywhere, and it's kind of crazy. My
At
partner hates
Fortuna
me.
Archaeology, you should have like in the front lobby while people come in to hire you, like a mini museum right in your foyer.
I've
That'd
always
be cool.
wanted like a spare room to just turn into a museum because I'm not
Yeah,
sad.
that'd be awesome.
But so the exhibition, I wanted to focus actually on the Indus Valley because it's not something many people know about or have seen. I guess the only other place you could see Indus Valley artifacts is in the British Museum, I think.
Yes.
Um,
That is
so
actually where the thing I'm teaching from is British Museum. That's the ancient art from the Asian art that I'm teaching is from the British Museum, and they have their Asian art categorized in 7 different categories, and I'm starting in there. So you are like on it. That's exactly what I. You're exactly correct.
good, good. So the first top two shelves had, like I just showed a minute ago, these amazing pots
Yeah.
with animal motifs, mostly animal motifs, the ones I have. Some little bowls, some little cups and stuff like that. And then I had a fertility figurine and some bull figurines.
Oh,
And it was
all in
just
this valley.
yeah, all Indus Valley
Wow.
artifacts, and those are the things I've kind of bought because I see a lot of these things, and I rather preserve them and then teach other people about these, artifacts. It's not just to buy and resell them on the
Right.
market or something. So, yeah, my friend who uh, helps me with the society, it was his kind of interest as well because he's quite into Mortimer and Wheeler, who went to the Indus Valley, and so he was quite shocked at all the stuff I had from the Indus Valley. Um, yes, that was the top two shelves, and then the bottom two were my kind of favorite Roman stuff. So I had some Roman pots, some coins, it's kind of the typical things, brooches, but I kind of focused on the Roman people. So I had like bits of jewelry, um, a Roman roof tile with that puppy's paw print in it from the corn
Oh
dryer I dug.
yes.
Um, those kind of common
Oh, so
things,
you
but for
actually own it. You own the
yeah,
tile.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
wow.
um, so yeah, and so I mean, it was the first time properly designing and how I wanted to lay this exhibition out, and it was a lot of fun because the museum, I've worked with them before with exhibitions, and they printed out all the labels, some photographs, a big poster, and stuff like this. So they just gave me this stuff and said, "Here you go, do what you want." So that was a lot of fun, good experience, and to see it, there and then people looking at it was just amazing, And then we did some talks alongside the exhibition. So I went in to do some talks with the public, and then for the Girl Scouts and brownies and rainbows type, all the different ages, so like the youngest
Yeah.
to the oldest. And it's quite funny that the younger ones seem to be more interested, asking questions, and as the kids get older, they're like, "Oh, I don't want to be here." So it's quite funny.
Yeah. I don't know. See, here I feel like sometimes I've got the opposite direction. Although I do have a really cute photo of one of my biological children. I used to take them on like Peace River paleontology type of hunts, and I have a really cute picture of one of my children when he was like 2 or younger, and he has this little like sifter, and he's digging, and he has like the tiniest little shark tooth in his hand, and he's like holding it up to the camera, and I felt like it was the ends of it, the very young and the older, but like in the middle is where it was like kind of meh. So to your point, it's like almost you come back to it. So it's like it's the interest and the wonder of a small child, and then sometimes it gets lost in translation as you age, and then by the time you're back to an adult, you're like back at it again with childlike wonder.
Yeah.
Well, you're the director of Fortuna Archaeology. It's your company. What type of projects are you currently undertaking? What are you seeking to expand? Like, where are you? Where would you like to be? Put it all out there so that people watching can, do if hire you, get your name out there. They have a project, they need somebody that you might fit that. Tell us all about it.
So it's a company I've only just started in
Right.
August, so it's only still very fresh. But the main kind of uh, point of the company is to subcontract archaeologists onto other sites for commercial units. So if a commercial company doesn't have enough staff, they will ask me, "Can you supply us with like 5 archaeologists for this project? 'Cause it's quite big and they're busy." So that's I
No,
usually
just UK or anywhere?
it's in the UK at the moment because I'm just starting off, so I'm still learning.
Okay.
So yeah, I've got 2 people working on a site in Lincolnshire on a Roman site, and I'm quite jealous because they're finding a lot of cool stuff. And then I'm now working on a trench evaluation project in Leicester. Um, and there seems to be a lot of archaeology. There's a lot of Roman, Iron Age, Anglo-Saxon, and it's only about 50 trenches, but I've had to take over the site as a manager because the other person is busy doing another site.
Oh,
So I'm actually running the site as well as supplying archaeologists for the site.
that's
But at the
awesome.
moment, yeah, it's cool. I do enjoy kind of managing the sites and stuff like that, and getting to, yeah,
Are
organize
you looking
everything. And
for more archaeologists to like send in their resumes and stuff to you to get kind of on your database?
yeah, definitely, yeah,
So everybody, whoever's watching this, you got an archaeology degree, a licensed archaeologist, anything in archaeology, um, email him. Email
yeah.
him, find his website, get to him on LinkedIn, and get your name in his database, because as he expands throughout the world, somebody might be calling him from, and we have a lot of people in India, by the way, that because I was fortunate enough to interview Professor a few episodes with her, and she works. She's a professor, so where she works, she's been introducing me to all different types of professionals, and there's really seems to be a cluster of people in India that I could introduce you to, or at least can be put into your database. So you know you might be being called into an Indus Valley type of situation. But people all over the world, if you have archaeological certification, get in his database. So as his company is growing, you're going to want to be one of the people who are there first to support this business. So as it gets bigger, he'll send you, your name's going to be at the top of the pile, not at the bottom. So make sure, is
Yeah,
there
I
an
mean,
email or somewhere to write you that you would prefer the resumes?
yeah, I've now got a website which I've just built that's published now, so you can go to my website. It should just be fortunaarchaeology.com.
Okay.
It should come, and then you can email me through that website. My email's on there. But yeah, if you've got experience and you want to get the experience working in England, Britain, whatever, I'm happily would take you on. If you've got the passion for archaeology and you want to learn.
What
So,
about apprenticeships? What about people who are passionate but without degrees? You think about maybe interning some people?
well, I think with commercial units, they're more likely to take, you know, apprenticeships. It's usually they take you on as a trainee on like quite a low wage, and then they train you up, and then they pay you a lot better.
I mean,
Um,
there's unpaid
but
apprenticeships where you can have assistants that are just looking to get the hours or to certify assist for free your paid archaeologists that are going out there, just so they can literally get their hands on, in the dirt or whatever the archaeologist
yeah,
on site is directing them to do.
that
So,
that does happen. But it's like I say, it's with commercial units because what the units are getting from me is they want experienced
yeah.
archaeologists to just work on a site straight away. But I can take people on who've got limited experience type thing and then train them up myself. But straight from scratch, it would have to be like a trainee role in for a commercial unit because I'm supposed to be supplying
Yeah,
the
no.
experienced people on the sites for them. But yes, a limited experience is fine because I'm currently training one of my friends up who's interested in archaeology and he's starting from scratch.
Oh, that's
So
wonderful.
I'm trying my best to, train them up on site and yeah, get more
I love
people
that.
involved in the company as well. And the company's not just about the archaeologists. It's like what I mentioned last time, where I want to try and uh, push for doing other things like photogrammetry, 3D models,
Yeah.
doing small projects by myself, like I'm currently doing now. Yeah, just branch off from just going to a site, digging, and coming home again. I want to do a lot more things with it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So then what would advice be that you would give young archaeologists hoping to break into the field, especially those interested in Roman archaeology, even if let's just say they don't live near you and they're wanting to break into the field, they got limited experience or they're just a fresh graduate, what advice would you give them?
Probably the same advice I gave in the last episode, where I spoke about how I broke into archaeology. But if you're initially interested in archaeology and you're what you want to pursue that as your first kind of interest, because I kind of did film, then
Yeah.
couldn't do that, then went into archaeology. So if it's your first thing, like I say, just volunteer on everything you
Mm.
can. Um, Go to your local museum, volunteer there. They're always looking for volunteers. Find your local societies that do digs, and they will let you go onto a site and dig
Yeah.
with supervision, and you get to look. And if that society is doing something particularly interesting, like a villa, but they usually are. It's not like a boring project. It's always quite a big thing they've been doing for years. So you get to do something pretty cool, which isn't the norm, because most commercial units do a lot of jobs where there's nothing there, so it can be a bit
Oh
boring.
yeah.
So they're literally targeting really cool archaeology. So that's another way to go into it and just yeah show your passion for it and that you want to learn and work hard at it, and you'll definitely get somewhere pretty quickly. That's how I did it.
Yeah, because you can't go in there with an ego and be like, no, I expect to do the big stuff. You got to go in there and do what they need done. Because I know that a lot of the commercial digs in America are not necessarily paleontological or archaeological in heart. It's like something where a construction company was trying to build a anything, I don't know, building. And they've stumbled across something of archaeological significance, and they're just trying to get it ruled out or removed or whatever they're going to do so they can continue with their project. So oftentimes it's not a significant site. It's like just they're like hoping that you'll just get this project underway and give them clearance to keep going.
Hmm.
And then but like other times it's probably different in America, but like the stuff that's on state property is all types of legal red tape. Like in Florida specifically, if you can't even pick up an arrowhead that you found and keep, you could be in trouble for it. So you can't, and then you also can't even pick up fossils unless it's shark's teeth. Anybody can pick up shark's teeth. You have to have like a fossil permit. So
Yeah.
I have a fossil permit somewhere. I have another one in my wallet. I always keep a copy of it. But you have to have a fossil permit even to like take up a bone shard on state property, or the what do you call it? The state comes in and they're like checking your stuff to make sure that you, especially if they see you like actively digging and sifting. And where I live, the Peace River is a big deal to go out there, and the Wildlife Commission comes out and is like shaking you down for artifacts and fossils. God forbid you have an arrowhead. And I recently was at the dinosaur dig, and I got some arrowheads when I was out there. Like I purchased it at a store that was in this little city of Hanksville where I was doing some excavating, and it was like the middle of nowhere in the desert. And I said to them, should I keep my receipt? Because these arrowheads, I'm trying to get them back on an airplane to Florida. I ended up just mailing them to myself, so there's no drama. And I said, yeah, I'm kind of worried about trying to get these on an airplane to get home. And she's like, oh, we bought them from India. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. I mean, but like, good God. It's not like I could prove that at the airport while they're like shaking me down, because the airport's kind of aggressive in America.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, now, it makes me want to I would love to get an Indus. I would love to purchase, because obviously I'm not going to India until probably later 2026. Because I actually want to meet up with Professor Sejwal. I want to get my hands on a Indus Valley pottery as well. So I might ask you where you track that down to.
Yeah.
It says archaeology often involves balancing academic research with practical fieldwork. And plus you got a company now. How do you personally navigate that balance?
Well, with the I can't say the word academic. I don't. Like I say, I've not been to university. I don't have a degree. So how I balance, I mean, being a self-employed archaeologist was good because it was good money and flexible, and I can kind of go where I want to. And then now I want to do the company, which is not much more stress. It's just a little bit more paperwork, a bit more admin, and kind of learning a lot of things. I know what I'm doing, but I'm just learning as I go along, type thing. And it's something that'll hopefully keep growing and do well, hopefully. But the academic side, I mean, I'm currently trying to. I think if the company does well and it can pay me enough money to live on without having to be there myself, so I have enough people to do the projects for me, I was thinking about doing a degree if that was possible, type thing. And at the moment, I'm looking into doing like specific things like Roman courses, things that I'm interested in. And there's one at the University of Oxford where it's a short course for a couple of weeks. It's called Roman Britain within the Empire. So I thought that sounds quite interesting. It only cost a couple of £100, and it's part-time. So that's what I'm going to be doing next year, actually, just to get something under my belt academically with archaeology, because I don't have anything other than, I guess, the publication. And
well, I mean, not only that, but I researched you before. Obviously, I reached out to you, and I saw you have like some sort of licensure of archaeology, because I saw on like you have some sort of a certificate floating around online. So you have something that's out there. But
it's an institute for archeologists, I think.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So it's like an institute where you pay
you
to
do have some stuff under your belt.
Yeah, some.
More so probably than the people who just graduated. And also, like, But I mean, you already know stuff. Like you were able to tell me exactly how a corn dryer works, and you knew this about the mouse brains, which everybody's thrilled about around this joint. I mean, you either have researched or learned it from being on the job. I mean, you have a significant amount of knowledge under your belt as it is, more so than the normal person knows about Roman Britain. So, and how did you learn that stuff? Just from being there on site, and or were you reading books, or how do you know what you already know?
So, because the Roman period is my favorite, and with my ADHD, I kind of get hyper focused. So I buy
Mm,
like every Roman book there is possible, and there's like a collection of archaeology books you can get called the Shire Collection or something. And they're only little books, but each one's about like mosaics, villas, roads, castles, or forts, all
yeah,
that kind of thing. So I can learn quickly by just reading all these books, and but then with my collection, I have come across all these different type of things, and I have to research kind of what
yeah.
dates are
What
they
are they?
from? Yeah, what are they? And in archaeology, I've been doing it for 10 years now, and you see it quite often. You see the same things quite often, the same common finds. So I learn how to identify pot. Like if it, yeah, I can now probably say if I find a bit of Roman pot, I can say if it's early, mid to late Roman. Um,
Yeah.
Probably now, and then animal bones, I can usually identify them by their teeth. With skeletons, I can most of the time identify if it's a male or female, and approximately what age type thing.
Oh,
But
wow.
all this knowledge has just come from, yeah, 10 years of being in the game and just
Really? That Oxford class might be too easy for, like, what I mean, too easy for you. But it's the idea of like at least getting the paper trail behind it that
yeah,
you have it, because it seems as though you're going to exceed what's being taught in the class. Of course, there's
maybe, yeah.
go anywhere and you're definitely gonna pick up a new fact, a new something. Be open minded. But it seems as though what they're going to teach and what you already know are,
Possibly.
you know.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but then I don't know.
But it's
It
good to
is
have the trail.
yeah,
You know.
it's an undergraduate thing, but that it can help you get into the next thing. So I
Hmm.
think I just need that initial thing, even though I've been 10 years into it. I think I just still need that thing to then be able to, because I was looking at a master's in Roman archaeology,
Which would
but
be
then
incredible.
which would be amazing. But I found out it's like 12 grand to do it, so it's kind of
Huh,
crazy.
perhaps.
So
I
for
mean,
me, anyway,
as you become more financially
with the company, it will
independent
help,
with archaeology, yeah. I don't know what it's like over there, but in America, if that's your business and your focus, that degree is would be a tax write-off because it's part
Okay.
of professional hours. And yeah, I know the tax system's probably different over there. I don't know,
Mm.
but here it would be if you paid for it through the company, because it is professional hours,
Yes.
professional things. Then you also can write off on taxes, and you pay less.
Hmm.
You pay less taxes on your intake of money because you've expended money in that. So I'm
It's a
it
good point. I
definitely
mean, I
tradition. It
could.
is professional hours.
True. I mean, I could make, save that money from the money I get from the business, and
Yeah,
um, then do the course through the company and just try and you can claim things back on tax
yeah,
probably,
and
because
it's
there's
legitimate.
something I need to look into because I don't know too much about
Even your
how
masters,
it works.
or if
Yeah.
you ever go through for a doctorate, because you are the owner of the company and you're fine honing the skill and the vision of the entire company. It is. I mean,
Yeah.
even places locally like. I used to run restaurants for a bit, and at the restaurant, as long as you were working for them, even like if you were a waitress, they would pay for your college. So
Oh
I mean,
wow.
it's completely on board. It's not anything. It's not like we're talking about doing anything
Well, I've just done
shady.
things backwards, I guess. I should have done that first and then the
Oh
business, but
no,
I've
you've
done
done
the
it.
business and now uni. So
I think you've done it exactly as you ought, because now you have the unique opportunity to have a
yeah.
business that can, it's people's lives. I feel like unfurl as they're supposed to, and you've done it exactly for what you need. Let's take
Yeah.
a short break, and then
Okay.
we'll be back and we'll finish up. We got a few more questions for you, And definitely, if you have an opportunity, email me some pictures. I don't know if you have 3D models of some Indus Valley stuff, but
Yeah,
email
I've
them to
got
me.
good pictures of the pot, all of
Yeah,
them
I'd like to
actually.
put it at the end of this video so
Yeah,
that
sure.
people can
Yeah.
get a good look at it. All right, my friends, we'll be back in a few minutes. Take time, run around, get a drink. We'll see you in a few. Hello, welcome back. We're with archaeologist Lee Baylis, and we're just finishing out an incredible 2 week focus on the work of this man. And stay tuned also afterwards. Do not turn off after the final commercial because we're also going to be putting up some more of his 3D models and some photos that we've about things that we've talked about through his episodes. So again, you can check last week's episode. There's also photos at the end here and also on this episode. Don't turn off at the very end. Watch it all the way through and you'll be able to see some really cool things that he's been working on. So, Lee, let's get back to it. From your perspective, how important is public outreach, which you do quite a bit of? And
Yeah.
whether it's through publications, talks, YouTube projects like Archaeology Talks, because you also had a archaeology talk show. How important is that into shaping the future of archaeology?
Yeah, so I did start something similar to what you're doing now called Archaeology Talks, which was based on YouTube, and it was my premise was just to talk to archaeologists around the world, just to get their kind of their views and what's good and bad in their countries with the archaeology. And I spoke to a lady in England who was an archaeologist, so we had similar views because obviously the same country. And then I spoke to someone called Tim something. I feel bad for not remembering, but he was a paleontologist in America.
Oh, nice.
Uh, um, so he was telling me all about how he works in the museums with fossils and dinosaur bones and all this kind of thing. And then I spoke to a lady in Australia who still probably can't really uh, explain properly, but she looked at like isotopes in teeth and very like the scientific side of archaeology. So I was trying to get different areas of archaeology. So that the purpose of that was actually because during COVID, I thought it was just a good time to do it and kind
Yeah.
of teaches people how archaeology works in different countries and get different perspectives and what people think should be improved and what things, the pros and cons type thing. Um, but the public outreach, yeah, I do a lot of talks,
Let
mainly
me
for
just
like
say really quickly, you have quite the resume. I mean, I know you keep in your heart, you keep saying like, I'm not really this, I'm gonna go get a degree. But I mean, you have quite a resume. Like you've had a talk show, you've had publications, you've had museum focuses, you have your own company, you've been on all these different digs. And like I said, I don't know if I said it on camera or privately to you, but I wonder how far your knowledge is going to exceed the class that you're about to take. So I mean, like, you have quite a resume as it is. Like you deserve all of the success that you're currently enjoying and more so. But anyway, what were you
Mhm.
saying about public outreach?
So it was more aimed to like the general public, just to kind of because some have good understanding, some don't, and just to give them a better understanding how we actually work in archaeology and what archaeologists actually do, because they all see like TV shows and think that's what we do, but
Hmm.
it's not really like that, and it's not so glorious. It's not so
It's not Indiana
interesting.
Jones.
It's not Indiana Jones. We don't find gold. We don't find dinosaurs. Um, so and at the end they say how interesting it is and how much they've learnt. And then with the children, it's you know they get to learn hands-on. Like I said, I have finds that I'll bring out and they can hold them, and they actually have more quite interesting questions when I do talks with the children. Like I think one little girl asked me, what made you become an archaeologist? Why do you do it? And I thought that's quite bright for a person of that age. And
Yeah.
so I do quite enjoy, doing the public outreach for the children because it's a bit more fun with the finds, and I've got replica things they can use and stuff. Because with my with the adults, I use like a presentation with videos and pictures to try and keep
Mm.
them interesting. And I think this year I'll be going to a special needs school with
Oh,
people with
wonderful.
learning difficulties because it's I think well it was my I'm in a band. I play the drums and the bassist, he's a teacher in a special needs school and he wants me to come and do a talk because he sees how far I've come, I guess, and he wants me to show that to his students to kind of show them they can do what they want to do, even with the difficulties they may have. So I'm looking forward to doing that. It'll be the first kind of time doing that.
Yeah, and
Um,
you have to be careful because some of the people on the spectrum are like experts. They're going
yes,
to give you a
exactly.
collegiate
Yeah.
run for your money. They're going to be
They can
like,
tell
"Do
me
you know
how it
this
works.
fact?" Because I have a few like geniuses in my class,
Mm,
and it's like, I remember I have one student who he's been in my school since kindergarten. Now he's a high schooler, and I remember he would almost want to co-teach with me
yeah,
because he knew
yeah,
what we were talking about. And I have this one student who he would only come in the summers and like very rarely because he lived part-time in a different country and part-time here. And he was young, right? He was in kindergarten and he could read at like a 12th grade level, and he would be passing through, and the seniors or whatever, the high school would be having spelling tests, and I don't know, he'd go somewhere and he would just start spelling the word, and then I would be trying to like he'd be giving them all the answers, and the kids would be like, "What was it?" And he was retarded. I mean, he probably could have successfully completed 12th grade. I don't know where he
yeah.
is now because the last time I saw him, he was like in Jamaica, and then I don't know, he didn't come back when he was supposed to, so I don't know if he's still over
Mm.
there or not. But we really enjoyed him. So be careful; these kids are smart, and
I have come
especially in
across
school, they're
kids like
like
that. Yeah,
geniuses. They're like, I've been studying dinosaurs. Let me school you. I've been studying
yeah.
this.
This is how the Romans actually did this. It's like,
Yes,
oh,
you've made a mistake here. I've made a list. Um, it's so true, and it's so incredible. And I have here. It's like a special needs school, regular, advanced, everything all in one. So I've got all different walks of life for students, adults, children, experts, the whole bag. But teaching to special needs students on both ends of the spectrum makes you a better student or a better teacher, because number one, you have to stay on your toes because you don't know what type of genius is going to walk into the room, and you got to know what you know, and if you slip up, they'll let you know. But
that they will tell you. Yeah,
for sure, there is no embarrassment, and they don't suffer secondhand embarrassment being like, I will talk to you
no,
later about it because I don't want to embarrass you. They will just say it.
yeah,
And the other aspect is they say that if you don't truly understand something unless you can explain it to a 5-year-old. So if
hmm
you are trying to talk about all these upper crust type of highbrow things, but you can't explain it in words simply enough that you could teach a 5-year-old
yeah,
it, you don't really know it. You're just kind of regurgitating whatever somebody has told you. And
yeah,
it really makes you a better teacher. I truly believe that. Because here it's everybody's kind of integrated. Sometimes in public schools in America, they have like a special needs room or special needs division, and I like to say general population, which is a prison term over here, in a different section. And but no, the integration, it's really phenomenal. I'd love to follow up with you to see how that goes for you.
yeah. I'll let you know.
Um, they'll keep you on your toes, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I know them.
You might as well just go to an archaeology school and teach too. You get probably the same feedback. So technology in the field, beyond your 3D modeling work and other new tools or methods, what do you see transforming how British Roman archaeology is studied, produced, presented? What else? I mean, I I will tell you that when I was at the paleontology dig, so when I was on archaeology digs, like the Luna settlement, other things going on here, they did a lot of it with technology, to map and stuff like that. They did the mapping like in a more technological way. I went to this paleontology dig, which was really incredible thing, but they do it the old school way, like they're balancing, their compass and getting the bubble and the thing, and I'm like, there's so much possibility of user error with this because I was watching people struggle to get their compass exactly balanced to do the mapping and the dive, whatever. And I'm like, why don't you guys use some technology? And then in certain fields or certain companies, it's like very the same way you could do it in the 1800s is what they're doing today. as opposed to, like you said, now some people have LiDAR apps on their iPhone. So, what have you seen? Because you're on it and you were trained in, you know, you said the computing, you were doing videography or whatever, like you did that type of thing. So, you know it. So, what type of new technologies are coming out that's making it easier for the everyday archaeologist or paleontologist to get this show on the road?
So in the 10 years I've been working in archaeology, I haven't actually seen that much progress.
Really?
Like you say, a lot of things have been done the same old way it's been done for years and years and years. It's only in like recent years where I've seen. I mean, it's also certain companies have advanced more than others.
Yeah.
So some notable companies like Cotswolds Archaeology and who else? I mean, yeah, there's basically a few commercial units that are trying to do more, and then some have just kind of stayed doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, Such as like with photography, the photogrammetry might just be done the same way. Um, and then worked with another company. They're using lidar on a tablet, and it's
Yeah.
that's cool. I haven't seen that been done before. It's cool to see. And then obviously when we finish recording a ditch, like digging it out, taking pictures, drawing it, we have to write context sheets and basically write down, all the information, measurements, descriptions, all the cut numbers and all that kind of thing. But now I think there's a company called Digit, and they've created an app where you go on a tablet and you can do the same thing, like
Oh,
with a
wow.
context sheet, and you fill that in, and that stores it onto a database. But I think it costs the company like maybe £1 per context sheet that they
Oh, wow.
use. So they're obviously making a lot of money, but it also then saves all the paper because information goes onto a computer, which makes it easier to write the report type thing.
Right.
So that's something that certain companies are starting to do. Some haven't. So that's one thing that's probably in the most recent 2 or 3 years that they've started doing this. But to be honest, that's probably the only thing I've seen dramatically change in archaeology is some parts of recording, because a lot of it is just the same
Same old
methods.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's weird though because there should be dramatic increases in technology. Technology is supposed to rewrite itself every 18 months. It's like the general scheme of advancement. It doesn't make sense on why. I mean, obviously there are some things that are best the the old way, but to see the mapping done, I thought was very unusual at the dinosaur dig, to where it's like really heavily predicated on human error. If they there was no double checking. It was like if you did it wrong, this is what it goes down on forever. There was no, and I'm not advocating for like an AI future or anything like that where the robots take over and do all your stuff. But it just seems as though there should be more of a advanced methodology being employed. Speaking of advancements, I was kind of bringing up I do think that archaeology has a little bit of an advancement in that type of in situ type of work because there's a new field of archaeometry that's coming out. Which, are you familiar with archaeometry? I just the only reason that I even know about archaeometry is because I had to renew. Because with my certifications and stuff, I have to take CEUs and stuff every so often. So I took actually it was the Center of Excellence. It's a UK based
Yes.
place, and
Yeah,
I
I've heard
took
of
the
that.
archaeology course just to get the CEU hours for something I'm doing over at stateside. And they talk about archaeometry. And it's like the science of the. It's almost like it's more than mapping. It's not just mapping. It's like mapping on steroids. So like in situ, they'll be testing the biology of the soil and everything that goes along with it. And then there's archaeometry in the lab as well. And that is kind of like definitely an advancement. But what's weird about it is what it said in the Center of Excellence class is that they don't even teach archaeometry in college. And if anything, it's like a little byline that they're like, and you could take a 3 hour session in this. Don't ignore it. And it's really like the future future of it could be the future of mapping because sometimes there's archaeometry in situ and the rest of it's in the lab. It's like an advancement, which we're not often seeing advancements in.
Yeah.
So, let's see here. We've got a couple more questions for you, and I I know that you're very good at public engagement, and you go everywhere with it. You go into the retirement homes, children, special needs school, museums, magazines. You had an online thing. So let's just say people who are not familiar with Britain. It says public engagement. Here's a question: Roman Roman forts, baths, and villas are popular heritage attractions. How do you think archaeologists can best bridge the gap between academic discoveries and the public curiosity in Britain?
Uh, that was one thing I was going to say about how things progress, because I'm talking from a kind of side of commercial archaeology where it's a process that has to be done before housing or roads
Right.
can be put in. But things in academically in a lab or in a museum, or they're probably progressing quite a lot more than we are, because I guess they get the funding. They kind of have to upgrade what they're doing because they can't do the same old thing because they're trying to learn new things and find new discoveries. But with us, we just have a straight road. You might be able to go off and do the odd cool thing or upgraded thing, but it's like, because it's not part of the procedure, it's almost like not allowed. So that I
Well,
think.
let me ask you a commercial archaeology question then. So, do you ever leave the artifacts in situ, and just bury them back up and let them build over it, or do you always remove them?
So do you mean with like finds, like
Yeah,
pottery and
like if
stuff
you
like that?
find stuff, and then people are trying to build over it, is it always a question of just like removing it and getting it out of there so they can build, or do you ever bury it back up and they build over
So
it anyway?
say if we're digging like an excavation and we've got some Roman enclosures on one end, and then on the other end we've got Iron Age activity with roundhouses. We get like a method statement of what we need to do, and that will give us how much percentage of a feature we need to dig. And usually with ditches, it can be like 10% of that one ditch. So say a big enclosure, you just do 1 meter slots every so often to get that 10% of it done. And then
Yeah, for
whatever you
convenience.
find, yeah, whatever you find like pottery, animal bones, any finds, we have to put them in a bag, and they will be then sent to the fines processing team for that company, and they will clean them, quantify them, weigh them, all that kind of thing, because that will have to go into the report at the end. And then usually, I guess if it's like a small find, like a coin or something, that will then be given to a museum, the local museum.
Mm.
Um, so I guess the thing is, you might do a slot on a ditch, you find nothing, but then if you went a little bit along or extended that slot, there might have been a complete vessel there, and but we're
Yeah.
we're never going to see it or know that it was there because we only have to dig a certain percentage of certain features, like pits. It's like 50%. So
So
yeah, I
they're not
think
being completely excavated. It's like
no,
because like a construction company is like waiting in the wings
that's right. Yeah,
for
we're
to
we're
see
just
what's there.
delaying them.
Have you ever had a have you ever had or heard of where they found something so significant that it permanently delays the building?
Um, the site I was on last year on the Roman Villa in Oxford, that's been going on for at least 2 years now, that dig, because the villa was so important. And there's so much archaeology around that area with other Roman features and Iron Age features that it's probably definitely delayed the housing.
Yeah.
But from what I heard from a colleague, he was also there. He said now they've kind of finished working on the villa. They've just got the machines in and wiped it away, so it's
Oh
gone.
wow,
Yeah, because they want to build the houses. So that's one
that's
part
sad.
of that's one part of commercial where it's so depressing to see the history just being wiped away just because they want to build houses or they want to build a road or they want to put a pipe in the ground or whatever. But it's money, money, money in that sense, and I can drive past a site I managed 5 years ago, and I know what it looked like at the time, and then you drive past it now, and it's just like an industrial estate, and it's all been destroyed, and that's
Yeah.
happening. That's happening everywhere, around the UK. So that's quite a sad thing for me to know that, we're recording it the best way we can and doing our jobs, but it's knowing that even if it's a Roman villa with all these cool things and things we could learn about, it's just being wiped away because someone's paid some money to build a house. So
Yeah. I almost
academic,
wonder, we need archaeology like real estate people who will buy the sites so that they are conserved,
some
you
rich
know.
archaeologists.
Bunch of richies out there, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm a bunch of brokies over here, so I can't afford to do it, but maybe
no, I
who knows
can't.
what my future holds, right?
Because I don't
But yeah,
understand why with the villa they couldn't have just built around it and had it as a feature in that
that would
housing
be
estate
incredible.
for people to come and look at, for the kids to say, "Oh, look, I live next to a Roman villa," and it could teach the local people about their history. But I don't know. I think it just boils down to money, and
Well,
yeah,
this summer I was in Philadelphia, and they actually have, to your point, quite so Philadelphia is quite developed, right? But it was also, a center point of colonial America. So there's a section right next to the Liberty Bell, which is still standing, and everything else is there's like a Wawa's 2 feet away from it, and then underground you can go to this place that has like plexiglass, like right in front of the or right behind the Liberty Bell, but into the building, and you look down, and it's the archaeological framework of one of George Washington's houses. And so they built the sidewalk and everything all about it, and then you look down, I don't know, 20 feet into plexiglass, and it's like lit up, and it is still the archaeological ruins, like
mm,
there. And then Philadelphia is quite developed. And then the same thing, you go down the street a bit in Philadelphia, and amongst all the common buildings is Betsy Ross's house, just who made the original 13 star flag, just there, as it were, untouched with the original door handle. So they
yeah.
have found in certain places like a proper balance of like keeping the stuff, but for the most part, I think America just bulldozes their way through everything as well. So, you know,
Like you
I
say,
spent
that
a good time
there's
at Valley Forge though too. Valley Forge is like the entire place is just left it's unbuilt upon completely. That's pretty cool. But,
because there is some places in the UK where they have preserved certain
like
things. Like,
Stonehenge is untouched, no?
yeah, well, they rebuilt it. I think it was all kind
Did
of,
they?
yeah. So they've kind of, well, they reconstructed it to how they think it would have been originally. So they've not
But it's the
fully,
original stones, right?
yeah, the
They
original
just
stones. They've
reconfigured
just
them
put
and
them
stuff.
back
Yeah.
again. But there's things in London where you've got parts of Roman walls still standing, and they've preserved it type thing. And then I went
Like
to
Hadrian's
this,
Wall type of stuff.
yeah, similar to that, where they've preserved that. I think it depends where that feature is,
Yeah.
and if it's significant enough to preserve, or they've got the funding to keep maintaining it. Obviously, because obviously it'd be like English Heritage who will preserve it and conserve
Yeah.
it. But there was one place in London where you go underneath like a tower in the basement. There's like a Roman temple still there.
Really?
Yes, so there's some things that they do preserve, like some Roman villas. There's probably like 2,000 Roman villas in the UK, and
Still there.
still there. And there's one on a little island down south, and they excavated that during the Victorian period, like the 18th, 19th century,
Yeah.
and now they've just built like a building on top of it to preserve the villa inside, and they've just turned
Oh,
it
yeah.
into like a museum, which is great. This is something they need to do probably a little bit more often, you know.
Agreed.
But it's either because they don't have the funding, or there's certain documents have been signed to say even if you do find something amazing, it has to be wiped away. But
Yeah.
it's not
That makes your
everything.
work in the 3D modeling even more important.
Exactly, yeah, to preserve the vision of that feature, even because sometimes just having loads of pictures is good, but imagine having a 3D model where you can literally touch the screen and look at zoom into
Mhm.
certain areas and stuff like that.
It's the future.
Definitely. Now, it is being used 3D modeling for that kind of thing, like for historical buildings and monuments. So
Mhm.
it's just probably more of an academic thing, or maybe certain places around the world do
Yeah,
it.
but
But
I mean, it's vitally important in commercial archaeology because those are the places that are going to be gone, the next season because
yeah,
of whatever. And you're only, like you said, you're only digging 50% up, 10% of that. It's almost like the luck, not to say it's a luxury, but almost the luxury of academic archaeology is that most of the time the museum has acquired the site. I know that the Florida paleontological site I dig on, one of them they own. They could dig there into perpetuity, and then the other one is like borrowed on private land. And so they, as long as the owner of the land says to go, they've been digging there for like 10 years. So it's like academic archaeology, paleontology, and stuff like that has a bit of a luxury in that capacity, as opposed to commercial archaeology. It's just like a smash and grab. What can we save in time, before it goes, which is kind of sad. Well, looking ahead, what lies in the future for you? What discoveries or projects would you most like to be part of in the next 5 years?
so being in archaeology for 10 years now, I've done a lot of the commercial side of things. I've not done as much, like volunteer digs as I'd like to. Digs that actually have, what's going to be there and it's going to be very interesting.
Hmm.
Even like going abroad, I've only done that once in Italy. But it was like a Roman cemetery, and I was only there for a week. But I struggled because of the heat, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, it was very hot, and just being a Englishman, I'm not used to that.
And
So
there's no air condition almost
no,
anywhere out there.
no, and even though it's volunteer, they still expect you to do a lot of hard work, which I understand because it's funded and they want to get as much done as possible. But yeah, so really, I want to try and go on to some more digs where it's something I'm focused in like Roman archaeology, maybe a site. I mean, I'd love to dig in Pompeii, but
Oh, yes.
it seems practically impossible. Even you either have to be a student or rich or something. I don't know. I've
Yeah.
looked at other ways, but it seems impossible. But I know that some of my friends have been to Greece and done digs there. Um, but yeah, something like that where I can experience something for at least 2 weeks and it's proper nice, interesting archaeology. So that's one thing I'd like to do.
It'd be really
Um,
cool if you went to all of the, like, if you did a 2 week dig in each of the far reaches of the Roman Empire. Like you made your way all the way through northern Africa and like almost Mongolia and stuff like that. That'd be a super cool
like an
resume to put
archaeology
together.
tour
Yeah, that'd be
of the
awesome. And then you
world
could
and
make your own like 3D
documentary.
museum of it all. Yeah,
Yeah,
truly. And that'll pay
well,
for your way into Pompeii.
exactly. Yeah, but I have been talking to someone in Italy about making a documentary about archaeology in Italy. So that's one possible project as
That's
well. So
awesome.
so stuff like that, like things that I want to create, like document, like I said, merge my film into
Hmm.
archaeology by making a short film and or a documentary. Yeah, so something like that. I'd like to see my company do well, succeed, progress. Um, I can't really think, and then maybe academically get something behind my back more with a degree.
Get you into some academic archaeology too. That
Yeah,
way you don't have to smash and grab and see
exactly.
it
Or
all washed away next year.
yeah, exactly.
That'd be phenomenal. Well, we definitely want to stay tuned to everything you've got going on. I'm going to post the URL of your company too, because let's get you out there, not just made a name in the UK, but get you all over the joint.
Yeah.
And I know that you're interested in possibly coming out here stateside, and
Hmm.
I'll see what I can do with that because I do know some people, and I do know you, so I could just bridge the gap between the two and see how it goes. Well,
Yeah, I'd love
it's
to
been a
bring some finds and do a talk or whatever you need me
I
to
would
do. I'm happy to do it.
literally love that too. And plus, we have a local museum that vaguely, I used to teach history Saturdays there as the archaeologist. It was like a kids outreach program for a couple of years, and now I kind of do Archaeo Saturdays here at my own school. But I almost wonder. I was thinking about when we were talking about that. It used to be a history museum, and there was a history museum and there was a science museum, and they were taking the space of the history museum. So the history museum moved into the science museum, and they brought me in because essentially history museums are usually for like adults, and science museums are usually for children. So they were looking for people that could make science interesting to the adults and history interesting to the children type of phenomenon. And I wonder, not only that, they also do traveling exhibits. I almost would like to put you in contact with somebody I know over there. But the thing about him, the manager of the museum, is he's like, I don't know, they did have the King Tut exhibit there for a bit, and I got to see it. But he's really big into it being all Florida archaeology, which is kind of why I
Right.
was lost interest in it, because I live in Florida. Obviously the history is significant, but I'm an old world, ancient girl type of thing of Mesopotamic archaeology and Egypt and biblical archaeology. So having to teach Florida archaeology for 2 years in a row was like, yay, So, but they do have like Egyptian stuff come through. So I think it would be interesting if I could see if I could get you
Well,
an
imagine
exhibit
having
there.
a Roman Britain exhibition, where things that you'd possibly never seen before and learn. Because I know the Romans is a big thing. So even in
Yeah,
America, so I can definitely
for
bring
sure.
stuff from the Roman period, and I've got tons
Yeah,
of the
and
stuff.
then they'll do this thing. They have a separate room where they do talks and stuff. And the King Tut night, before my husband passed away, my husband and I got to go to the night at the museum thing. So it was like a
Mm.
big cocktail party, and the big wigs were there, and then we got to eat and see the music, the thing before that, and that'd be a great place for you to speak. Also,
Yeah,
who I could talk
definitely.
to is I'm on the board of the Southwest Florida Archaeological team, and or the society, and I've been on the board there for I don't know how many years, 7 years, and I'd like to talk to them too. I have a few places I'm trying to think about, and on top of that, my mother works at the university. She's the internet. She's the director of international admissions and transfer articulation, and somebody I grew up with who was a professor at Oxford for a long time. We grew up locally. He's back here and he's the dean at that college as well as the honor society. So I've got a few people I want to spider web you out to and see how it goes.
Definitely. Yeah, I'd love
Yeah,
to
so you
come
might be
and
coming here more sooner than later. I'll keep you in touch with you about it.
yeah, yeah.
Everybody, I was a pleasure with Lee. He's incredible. You might be able to see him on stateside. So if you are attached to Bannworth Academy or a homeschool family or hybrid, whatever, and you want to see him in person and the stuff that he brings in, please stay tuned because I have a few different places that I want to. So especially if you're located in Fort Myers, Florida, we might be able to get you in person with him. Um, so please stay tuned. Please email me and watch the school website as more of this develops. So we've had a fantastic journey today with archaeologist Lee Baylis, from Roman corn dryers that he brought to life with his 3Ds to his museum exhibitions that connect the past to the present. Lee reminds us that archaeology is not just about objects, but it's about the people who dedicate their lives to bringing history back into the light. So, Lee, we want to thank you for joining us today on Bannworth Academy Ancient News and for sharing your adventures and insights. And to our audience, please keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep digging, both literally and metaphorically, because the past always has more to reveal. And until next time, I am Dr. Tiffany Bannworth, reminding you that history is the greatest adventure of them all. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week.
So yeah, there was one find I forgot to mention, it, including the Indus Valley. This is a Roman, well, half a Roman complete pot that I've glued back together. So you can see it's probably like a small jug. This here is the rim, the top of the pot. You can see
Oh
the
yeah.
circular shape where it would have continued. That's the base there.
Oh, wonderful.
That's the inside, and you can see all those little white bits.
Yeah, yeah. What's that?
That's snail shells.
Ah, nice.
So
They have something like called coquina that a lot of Florida, like St. Augustine style stuff is made of. It's all shell stuff. Same type of
yeah,
vibe.
so yeah, it's called shellyware just because there's fragments of snail shells.
Nice.
And this is very typical of early Roman pottery. You can also see evidence of burning on the bottom there.
Oh yes. Yes.
So it's probably a little
it?
cooking pot, just like a small cooking pot.
Oh,
But yeah,
very
that
nice.
was this little interesting pot that I forgot to show.
Super cool. Super cool.